Okay,
We're
well,
going to
thanks
just
for
move on
everyone
then.
who
Thank you
joined,
for
and
someone that spoke up.
for
I'll just
those
share
who
this
I'm sure
video
will
and these
tune
slides
in on your own
afterwards.
time. It's great to chat with you.
So
my name is Emily Knight, and
essentially
I'm
what you're
the
doing
Entrepreneur
is
Development Officer
putting
at Mount
the
Royal University's
assumptions
Institute
on a
for
matrix.
Innovation and Entrepreneurship.
So the
it's a tongue
matrix, the
twister, as
two
my
sides
joke all the
are
time.
likely
Say it 10
to
times
happen.
fast.
So,
but yeah, I'm
how
very lucky.
likely are you
I love Mount Royal,
you right or
and I love
wrong
getting
about
to
any
meet
given
students like
assumption?
yourselves who are working
And
on
then
really cool
how
projects.
devastating will it actually
So excited
be?
to chat with
So
you today,
is this a
and hopefully learn
sinkhole
more about some
assumption
of the
that if you're
projects
wrong about
on.
it, the whole
If
thing
you weren't
goes
here for the
down?
first
Or is
one
this
with
a
me
minor
back in December,
inconvenience that
totally
you can
fine.
kind of figure out
kind
how
of
to
build
get
on
through
each
it?
other, but it's not necessary
I'll show
to have
you
been
just
both.
in the
But in that session, we really talked
Jam
about
board here,
finding problems worth solving.
this matrix. So this is
my
just
goal
in the corner of
that
each of the
session
jam
was
boards.
to convince
You'll just pull it
you
out,
guys
and then you're able to put the
wait
sticky
to
notes
pick an
on
idea
top
and
of
wait
this matrix.
to build something.
And then
until
the
you had done a
assumptions that
little bit
end
of
up
problem
in this
discovery,
top right
going out
corner
and figuring
are the ones
out
that you really want to be
what's a
worried
problem
about.
we're
So
solving.
those
in
are
this
the
area
assumptions that would be
we're
really
working in.
devastating to your project.
And today,
it would
my
really
goal
stop you
is
in the
going
water.
to be to talk about solution testing.
And also
so now that
that
you've likely
you
started
don't have a lot of
to
evidence
build
that
or
that
landed on an
you're
idea,
right about that thing.
my goal is
So
to
if you've
keep
never got the
slowing you
housing
down
inspector out to figure out about a sinkhole,
focus on testing
you don't have
that
a lot of
idea
evidence
before
so,
you build it to
that
perfection.
one might be in this upper corner.
So I'm just
Something
going to
like,
share my screen.
will we be able to
before you build
launch
to
a social
perfection,
media campaign
is really the topic.
might be something
of
that's
this session.
more annoying
So
on
as
your list.
builders
So
and makers,
really figuring out
it's
which
really
of these
tempting to want to
assumptions are the most
invest all of
devastating.
your time in building your solution, especially for the hackathon.
So
into
you guys will
the
just
most
categorize that
perfect
kind of in
version
your
that
own
you can
time
get.
outside of this.
But
and I'll jump
my
into
state of mind and what we
solution
really
testing.
talk about in the world of innovation.
So once you've
is,
identified your assumptions,
a method called lean startup.
the next thing you want to do is
really
actually go out and
refers
test
to
them. So
really investing your
you have
time
these assumptions
in
that you want to go out
validation
and test.
and
How do you actually
figuring
do
out
that?
is your
Because
solution the
I
right
said
solution
you're not supposed to go out
along the
and build the
way
entire
of
thing.
launching it.
So if you don't have
instead
the
of
full product or the
spending,
full
let's
solution
say you
built,
really invest
how are
in
you
this
supposed
project,
to test it?
you could spend the next
So I'm
3
going to be
years building
introducing
it and making
a handful
it
of ways
perfect,
that you can do
quote
that,
unquote.
both quickly
But what
and
often happens
cost
when
effectively.
people do that
Because
is
of the
when
nature
they
of the
launch it into the
hackathon
world
and
they're
also the
completely
nature of being
tired. They've spent their
students,
last 3
you
years
don't
not
want to
getting
be
paid,
running really lengthy,
eating
expensive
instant
tests.
noodles.
You want to be running
to
things
build
that are
this
really
thing.
short and sweet.
And then nobody cares.
So
and
the purpose
customers don't buy
of
it
solution
like they thought
testing,
they would.
once again,
So
is really
what
to
this
find that
conversation
fit
is really
between the
about
problem and
is
the solution that you're actually building.
testing that
So
and identifying ways that your solution could
requires
go
some
wrong
tweaking here and
before
there.
you've built the whole
It's
thing.
unlikely
and it's
that
really
whatever
that
you've landed
energy
on
conservation
is the perfect
So
solution with
instead
all
of
the bells
building
and
it
whistles,
the way that
there's
you
probably
think,
some
building
features
it
that
the
you're
way
not
that the
sure if you
customer would
really
actually
need.
use it, and
There's some
building it to
features that
really
maybe you
match
haven't
what
thought
their
of that would
problems
be
are.
really important.
So that's what we're going to be really talking about
this
today.
process is really about getting the customer's
So
input
within
into
that,
your
there's kind
building
of three main
process. So
things
you're really
that we'll
building
go
what
over
they
today.
want from the very
One
beginning.
is identifying your assumptions.
So these are some examples
Any new idea,
of
really anything
low-cost
we do in life
experiments.
comes
There's
inherently
also
with
a lot
a
of
ton of
other experiments
assumptions.
that you can run,
And that's just how our brains
more
work.
high
They're very good
cost,
at
which either
making these
take more
connections
time to
for us
build
and
or might
building
cost some
out a
money to
pathway
do.
in our
But
brains
I'm just going to go over these
validate
ones for
something.
today because
However,
it's really
those
fitting to kind of
assumptions
where you guys are
often
at.
lead us astray.
So this
because
is a list of
we're working with
9
limited
low-cost
information.
experiments. I'm going to just
So
talk
when you're
about
building
a handful
something
of them
new to launch into the world,
because it's really important
we
to
only have so much
identify those
time
assumptions.
and it's
to
likely
really
that there's
point
only a
out,
few of them that will
which
really
of these
be a
things
fit
might
for
really
the
throw us
hackathon
off here
because of the
before
limited
you've
nature
built
of
the
time.
whole thing out.
So we're going to be
So
doing
the
a
first
little
one I'll talk about
exercise,
is a
which you
solution
can do in your
interview.
own time as well.
So that I won't play this
to
video, but you'll be able
really
to find
identify
it
what those
outside of
assumptions
this
are.
as well.
Then
But if
I'm
you're
going to be
here
introducing
for
you
the
to
conversation
some
about
ways to
problem
actually go out
discovery,
and
this is
test
going to
those
be really
assumptions.
familiar.
So without
solution
having to
interviews
build
are really
the whole
about going out and
platform, the whole
asking for
product,
feedback
ways that you
without
can go out and
selling or
test.
pitching your idea.
Was I right about this?
So often
Do
when we
people
go out
actually
and we ask
care
for
about
feedback,
this? Before you have
it's kind of
invested all that
self-serving.
energy,
We go out and we say,
and then
would
finally,
you buy
I'll be
this?
talking to you about
And
how
then
you can
if they
leverage
say yes, we
Alberta's
take that as
innovation ecosystem
a good thing,
and
the
kind of walk
city's
away and we're
innovation
really happy with
ecosystem.
it. to really
people
help you do some of this testing.
First of all, really don't like
and really
salespeople.
support you
They
on
really
this journey.
avoid
If
it.
it
So
is
if they
something
feel
you
like
want to
you're
pursue
selling them
outside
something,
of this hackathon,
they might be clamming up. They might not kind of be giving you the full story.
So identifying
and also
assumptions,
because you're
this
students,
is kind of the first
it's really
stage
easy to
of
kind of get a
solution
false
testing.
positive.
So
So
it's really
where
easy
you're
for
at now,
people
you
to
have your
say,
idea.
wow, that's
You're
such
really
a cool
excited
idea.
about
I would
it.
totally use that.
Those
But then when
assumptions
push
are
comes to
things
shove,
that
they
could be
may
small
actually no
or
answer.
big.
So
If
a
you were
solution
building a
interview
house,
is about getting feedback
you might
on
be
your
making the
idea
assumption
on what you're
that
building,
you're not building it on
without kind
top
of falling
a
into those
sinkhole.
false positives.
But that's
So
probably something you
really
want to check
inviting
out,
in
and it's probably something you would
criticism
check out. You would get
is
a house
really important.
inspector
So
to come
actually
and
saying
make
to
sure that
someone,
everything is
hey,
okay.
this is what I'm working
So,
on.
like,
Where do you
a
think they might go
sinkhole,
wrong?
there's
Or
assumptions you're
what would
making about
prevent
this
you
project and about
from
your
using
idea
this thing?
that are just
What
not
else is
cool
out there
to
that's
just
already
go
solving
past.
this problem?
There's things that
Asking those questions
you
that
shouldn't
really
ignore.
invite in that constructive
And
criticism can really
when we
point
make
to areas that
assumptions
you might
about our
adjust
ideas,
along
we
the
make
way.
them in three
So
really distinct
some potential
areas.
questions that you might ask
So
in a
the
solution
first type of
interview
assumption we make
is
would you
about
ever use
the
this
problem
product
that we
and
solve.
this is the important
So we
part.
talked about
Why
that
or
a
why
little
not?
bit in
So
the
really
first
going
entrepreneurship
deeper into
session.
understanding why
But
someone would
is
use
there really a
something
problem
here.
or what would prevent them from using
Is there
it?
someone out there
What they like about
that
it and what they dislike
cares
about it?
that
What
that
might prevent
there
them
isn't a
from
solution
buying it
for this
and actually
already?
putting some money into
And
it? Because
there's a lot of
really,
problems in the
someone
world.
needs to
There's small
pay
problems,
something
there's
for
big
this thing to
problems,
go
there's
out there
annoyances,
ultimately at the end of the day,
but you're
whether
really
it's
looking
through
for problems
donations or
that are high
volunteer
on
work
someone's priority
or
list to
actually
solve.
purchasing
So
something.
problems that are
Those
costing you
resources are
money,
what will help your
costing you
project actually
time,
get off the
costing you
ground.
happiness. Those
Also
are the types
asking
of
people
problems
if there's
are
anything
really
similar to
actively
it,
looking for a
because there might
solution
be
for. A competitor out there that you've missed.
you have assumptions
that you
about
need
what
to
the problem
diversify
is
from.
in the first place.
Then
So a
you
solution
have
interview is a really
assumptions
beneficial
about
way to
the fact
learn
that
more
your
about your
solution
customers
is
and
the
also
right
learn
way
about
to
your
solve that
solution
problem
and how
for
it
any
fits
group
with their
of people.
needs.
So
Obviously, because
with any problem
we
comes
are in a
probably 100
lockdown and
different
we're
ways
not
that it can be
going to
solved.
public places where we
Some
can just
are really
bump
good
into
solutions,
people to talk
and
to
some
this
are not so
about.
good.
Solution
So you
interviews
want
are
to
a
be able
little bit
to
more
identify.
complicated.
However,
What
I've been
assumptions are
working
you
with
making
students this
about
year, and
the
lots of
validity
people
of
are
your
killing it at
solution?
this. So there's
And
lots
really
of
good
ways that you
example
can
of this
still go out and
is
get
there's a
this
really famous
validation
picture
digitally.
of
So
people on a
one really
train
good
in
tool
about
to
probably
leverage is LinkedIn.
1950, reading a
You
newspaper.
should have a LinkedIn profile.
The
If you're a
newspaper
student, really
is a form of
beneficial,
entertainment. It's a solution.
as you kind of build your
Then
career.
in the next
But it's
frame is
also
a picture of
useful
people on the
tool
train
when you're looking
today
for people
looking to
with their
give you
iPhones.
feedback, because
So
you can
the
just reach
problem
out
is
to
the
them on
same in those
LinkedIn and
two
say, hey,
situations.
I see
Need
you're
for
interested in X,
entertainment,
Y, and Z. You work
possible
for this
boredom,
company.
but the solution looks
Can I
so
ask you a few
different.
questions about the project I'm
And
working on?
neither are necessarily
And
right
people
or
will
wrong.
be
And they were
really
good solutions
willing
in
to
their
help,
context,
but
in most
move the
situations.
context and it doesn't work
There's
anymore.
also lots of digital
So you need to
events
figure out what are
that
those
attract
solution assumptions you're
very
making.
specific groups of people.
And then finally,
and
you
as a
making
student going in
assumptions
there and
about the
asking those people
implementation
for some
of your
feedback
solution.
is a really
And these
easy thing
ones,
to
as
do as
builders,
well. Tend to be the
you
ones
can
that
also
you guys
leverage
think
your
of the
network.
most.
So your
But they're
parents,
actually often
friends,
not the
teachers,
riskiest.
the mentors in this
I
program,
am 100%
asking them, do you know
confident
anyone
that
that fits
all
into
of
this
you can go
market
out and
that I
figure
could
out
talk to and
how
get some
to
feedback
build
from?
the thing you want to build.
So
And
solution
if you
interviews
can't do
are a
it,
really
you
good
can
tool.
find someone to join your team to do it.
And some of these
other
the
tools
implementation
are
stuff
kind of
tends to
supplementary
not
to
be the
them.
riskiest.
So no matter what, you're going to probably be talking
you might
to
need
someone to
to
get
build
that
a
feedback.
two-sided marketplace,
But
or
along
build a
with
community,
that interview,
or raise a
you
bunch
might
of
also
money.
bring a
Some of those
brochure.
things might be assumptions that you need to look
putting
into
together
before
a really
you
simple
keep running
brochure
down the
about what
road.
you're building can be
So
a really good
those
way
are really the three
to kind
main
of start a
categories of
conversation and get some
assumptions that
back
we
and
make
forth
about
with
our
someone
ideas.
to learn about what parts of your
So
solution
we're
work
going to be
or don't work.
doing a little
There's
bit of
a
a
tool called
workshop.
Canva. If you've
For those
never
that are
used
in the
it, that is
room,
a
and if you're
really
at
easy
home, you can
design
do this on
tool.
your own time.
Even if you're
You're
no
going to
design
pull
bones
up
in
that
your body,
Jamboard,
you could whip up a
this is
brochure about your
place that you'll
project
be actually
in
starting to
like
brainstorm
10
these
to 30
assumptions.
minutes to be
So
able to
what you'll
post
do
kind of this
is,
digital thing that people can give you
here
feedback on the idea.
into a big screen.
You might also do a paper prototype.
What you're going to do in
or
this
some sort of
Jamboard is
wireframe
find your
where
team
you can
member
walk
in the
people
corner here.
through
So
the process of what
you're
you think
either
this would
team
look
1 to
like at
10
the
or
end.
team 11 to So you don't have to build the whole thing. You're going to find your team member here,
a really
and we're going to actually be starting to
so that you can get
brainstorm what are
feedback
the
before you
assumptions
actually
you're
build out
making
all of
about
these
your
features.
project. So those assumptions could be about
Another
the problem
one
you're
is a data
solving,
sheet,
about
so you
the
could
solution
really,
you're
if
actually
it's a
building,
very
and
kind of
about how to
particular
implement
project
it.
that you're building with,
So
the specifics
you
really
are
matter,
going to use the sticky note
like
feature
the size
over
of a
here,
bolt, or that kind
and
of
create
thing.
a sticky
You can
note
really
for
just
each
do a data
assumption
sheet
so
that
you might
explains what
say
it's going to be like,
there isn't a single.
and the people can give you feedback that way.
might be one of the assumptions.
I've picked really all the ones that are really
and then you're just going to really rapidly brainstorm the assumptions, things that you can kind of whip up in a day or so. Team page. The last one that I'll talk about is a landing page, and landing pages are a really great way to learn a lot. Your goal is to come up with because they're actually interacting with something in the next 5 minutes. Landing pages are often free or very easy for you guys to make. There's a tool called MailChimp, which is actually a newsletter service, but also includes free landing pages that I've used in the past and is really good. So you put up this landing page, which is essentially just one website that people end up clicking on, maybe because you've posted some social media ads or you. And we'll share these Jamboards as well for those who aren't here. And then them clicking on things on that landing page is how you learn. So, for example, in this buffer example, this landing page would have been testing. And for those that are here, feel free to pop up with questions either in the chat or just in this conversation. Based on where people clicked, they were able to tell, okay, which of these so you have about 3 minutes left for those doing the exercise. So you're just putting even one the fact that people clicked on plans and pricing shows that they're really interested in this service and that they're would be willing to kind of go that next step to get more information. And that landing page doesn't have to actually lead to anything real. Feel free to pipe up with questions if you have them as well anytime. The service that you're asking about. You just have to have a screen that comes up that says something like, "We're not quite ready yet." Okay. Your email. So we're going to move on. So these Jamboards, and that email is a really valuable piece of data that says someone cares enough about what I'm building to leave their email with me. The next thing that you would do, I'm just going to skip through this, and you guys can do it. So those are some of the ways that you can kind of in your own time. But the next thing your idea would be to categorize those are really based on the assumptions that you've identified. Either go in and change the sticky notes to 3 different colors. Or maybe one of your assumptions is that people will be willing to pay $25 to access this service. So maybe you design a landing page to test that. A solution assumption, or there might be a different assumption. Is this the right solution with one of these? Or an implementation assumption. So an example is if I was going to be building a job board for Mount Royal students. Now I'm just going to play a little video that just talks about build this job board, how I build an algorithm that will. You can actually identify which ones are the riskiest jobs because the first thing you should do is see if I can even get students to go to a website. It's impossible for you to go out and validate them all I might build a landing page. You have to really figure out and say, which of these assumptions out there are the most dangerous even coming to this landing page? Which ones are giving me their email, asking, yes, okay, we want this different. So I'm going to just play this video that kind of explains how when you've tested that, you might move on to a different experiment that kind of continues to test, okay, now I know this, I'll try something further and further. Can you guys hear this? Until you're actually maybe building the feature because you know that people are really interested in it and you can actually pull it off. Does anybody have any questions about solution testing or riskiest assumptions before I jump into the next piece? Okay, so I'm kind of speeding through this just because we're a small group. So I'll leave lots of time for questions at the end as well, and we can kind of chat it through. But the last thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys about is really leveraging the innovation ecosystem here in Alberta. There's really a robust ecosystem of supports for entrepreneurs and builders like yourself. So this hackathon journey is really just one step of the journey of a really cool solution that you could actually be launching into the world. So I want to just introduce you to some of the ways that you might get involved outside of this hackathon. So these are 3 organizations. 2 of them are Calgary specific, but because we're digital right now, if you're not in Calgary, it's really easy to access these resources outside of the city, which is really great. So if you're kind of outside of that city center, there's lots of ways to get involved, especially right now. Also, Rainforest Alberta is a really interesting one to look into. They're also doing digital events every week and have a really interesting group of really tech-focused people who are getting together to talk about how we can move our economy forward in Alberta and really get into this world of startups and technology. And there's so much happening in the city. We often don't know about some of these things, but there's some outstanding technology companies. There's some really cool startups, and there's some really great ways that you can get support. So all of these organizations offer opportunities to network. So if you have an idea and you're looking for people to support you, there's opportunities for networking. There's opportunities for learning. So there's opportunities to go to workshops to build some of these skills, to really get some hands-on help to build your idea and move it forward. So there's really lots of ways to get involved. Also, if you are a Mount Royal student, we do have an opportunity coming up that is the JMH LAUNCHPAD pitch competition. So this is an opportunity to get up to $25,000 in cash and in-kind services to move your idea forward. So something like a pitch competition at your university or a program at your university might be a way to help move this idea forward. So this one is specific to Mount Royal students, but I'm quite close with the post-secondaries around the province, and there's lots of really cool opportunities for people from every single university. So if the thing you're building is something that you really want to see move forward, it doesn't have to end here. There's lots of other ways to get involved. So just kind of a quick reflection. The first thing that we did was identifying assumptions. So really figuring out which assumptions are you making that are just too risky to ignore. Which ones are a sinkhole under your house? Then once you know which of those assumptions are risky, what low-cost test could you run to really validate or invalidate? And the important thing to remember here is that if you run a test and you find out, oh darn, there is a sinkhole, I was actually wrong about this thing, that's a good thing because it means that you can pivot and you can change course before you've built the whole thing. So this is really a battle with perfectionism that we all really have, is wanting to only launch really good ideas, only have perfect solutions. And that's just not the way the world works. Things are iterative. Things take time. You have to change things along the way. So this is a really important practice to get into. And then finally, once you've tested the solution, you're rolling, you're rocking, how can you leverage other supports outside of something like this hackathon to continue moving you forward and continue helping you build what you're doing? And there's lots of great resources. If that's something you're interested in, I can definitely give some more recommendations. And really, really happy to chat with you guys and hear more if you are thinking about moving it forward.